Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. So I wanted to talk about some pretty big breaking news actually for the Walking Dead universe, and that is regarding the strike that was happening with the actors. And we got some news today. Apparently AMC has made a deal, and The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2 and The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live will be able to resume filming and all of that. And yeah, we have some more details that I'll get into. So before going any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, definitely go do so. I will leave a link down below in the description of this video. The podcast is titled The Empty Minds Podcast. There's episodes that come out every single Monday, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun just doing them. And honestly, we're sort of doing them just for fun right now, and we plan to keep going with this for a very, very long time. So yeah, definitely, if you are interested in a podcast by me, then definitely go subscribe on YouTube, and it is available as well on like Apple Music and Spotify and whatnot. But let's talk about this here. So I actually have this article here from Deadline, and they're the ones who originally reported on this, so I will leave a link down below to the article. But the headline here reads, The Walking Dead spinoffs and Interview with a Vampire to resume production as AMC Network strikes significant agreements with SAG and then AFTRA. I know I just read every single letter there. I don't know why, but yeah. So apparently they've actually they've come to an agreement here with the Actors Guild, and that is something that is honestly, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I do think, obviously, in general, this has to do with just those two shows there, or I guess three shows, right? And this is actually pretty significant. I do think this means that they are, and we'll get into the details here, especially as it relates to the Rick and Michonne show, because it's actually kind of interesting. Like, they needed to come up with this deal right away, because if they didn't, I mean, it definitely would have affected the show's premiere. Could be why we haven't really necessarily got a release date yet, because there is still stuff they have to do on that show. So these three shows specifically are allowed to work, and that's sort of the deal that they made with the Actors Guild. And it's interesting. I mean, reading this one quote right here from Deadline, it's understood that these agreements are specific to these three shows rather than a blanket agreement between the company and the guild. So it looks like they sort of got, you know, they have this thing worked out here, so they're actually able to start working on those shows. And obviously those shows are really like the big shows for AMC, you know what I mean? Like Interview with the Vampire, definitely it got a lot of well, in terms of ratings, I know it wasn't as great as like The Walking Dead Dead City, but I know it still did pretty good for just a brand new show that kind of came out of nowhere. And I know AMC is really wanting that franchise to succeed, right? Because I know they got the rights to that, and they're doing a bunch of different shows and trying to make that into a universe. And so obviously it's very important that they're able to actually film that and work something out there, right? So it makes sense that for that show, they're, you know, yeah, like they need to be able to work on that. And then also with The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, it's to do with season 2. So, you know, right now, obviously that was sort of the concern, was that, like, and I talked about it before, like before this agreement, they had obviously that Walking Dead Daryl Dixon airing next week, which goes straight into Fear the Walking Dead's last 6 episodes, and then Rick and Michonne would air at some point, I'm guessing early 2024. That seems to be what people are thinking. The rumor out there is February, but I have no idea. And then after that, you know, no one really knows. Like The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, I'm guessing would air afterwards and not Dead City. I guess Dead City at some point, I don't know when it's going to film season 2, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, based off of this right here, I will say, like, I think if they wanted to actually film for Dead City, they probably could just come up with an agreement like this as well. Like, I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. Like, for the bigger shows like this, they're probably just going to come up with like these agreements that help the actors. And I guess I don't know what the agreement is. Again, they don't really go into details at all here. It just sort of, it is what it is. There's an agreement made, right? So I imagine they probably could come up with a similar agreement for Dead City. It's just Dead City is not in the process of being filmed right now. I think eventually Dead City will resume filming, maybe in a couple of months from now. We'll have to wait and see, but they do still have some time, obviously, right? And The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2, the fact that they're able to film season 2 right now, I think that tells me that that show is likely going to be airing next, like, June, I'm assuming. It's probably going to come out the same time Dead City did. And then that'll probably end just before Comic-Con, and then Dead City will likely air at some point next fall. That's kind of what I'm guessing, like next fall, like fall 2024. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, obviously we knew some stuff. We knew that Melissa McBride was there, and she was back as Carol, and they were filming a bunch of stuff, but filming stopped about a month ago. They were filming season 2. Like, I know the rumors were that they were filming for like I don't know, maybe 2 episodes worth already at that point. So I'm not entirely sure. I have no idea. But season 2, first of all, could have more than 6 episodes. I imagine it probably is going to have more than 6 episodes. So they're probably going to be filming for quite a while. But obviously, this is really big news if you're a fan of these shows, because now we get to kind of have The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 2 air most likely next summer on schedule, right? And then in terms of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, now, they're not actually going back to film. According to a deadline here, it says The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live, which stars Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, reprising their roles as Rick and Michonne, has some work left to do in post-production, including ADR. So ADR is just sort of like, it's stuff in terms of trying to fix dialogue and stuff in terms of just the post-production process. Like, I know that sometimes, I mean, it's literally just, I don't know, like things happen when you're filming stuff, you know, like actors will say certain things. You might hear something in the background that sort of messes with the audio. Something might not be coming out as clearly as it, you know, as it could. And so you get actors to kind of just redo their lines, just sort of do things like that and have things work better and just the quality be better, right? Like it's done all the time in every single show, every single movie kind of thing. So obviously they have a lot of that to do left. And that's basically it, I would assume, in terms of that show. I mean, I'm trying to think in terms of reshoots or anything like that. There could be some stuff like that. But I imagine in terms of the writing and what they have for that show, they're probably pretty confident. I mean, I could see them going back to film some stuff. I mean, they still have time, right? Like it's August 31st. This show might not be premiering for another, what is it? Like 4 months from now is December 31st. So, I mean, yeah, it could literally be another 6 months, right? So they still have some time to add some stuff here and there. But I'm sure for this show, they are very much in the process of editing everything, putting everything together. I mean, I'm sure episode 1 and 2, there's probably rough cuts done of all of that. I'm sure there's rough cuts done of all 6 episodes. I mean, there's gotta be, right? Like, I feel like the only show, I mean, I feel like for Daryl Dixon, even for episode 6, like the very last episode of season 1, I feel like there's still some editing and stuff like that to do, right? Because I always remember what Greg Nicotero said. I think it was in 2020, it was a couple years ago, he was talking about, you know, the fact that the season 10 finale was delayed. And he said the reason why it was delayed, because remember, it was delayed like a week. I think it was like 3 weeks actually before it premiered. They announced that that episode would be delayed, and everyone was sort of like, wait, what? You didn't have that episode finished? Like, it was going to be set to air in 3 weeks. And then he sort of said, like, with these episodes and like with, you know, content in general like that, like it takes a long time. There's a lot of work put into every single episode, into every single thing that they put out. And sometimes episodes are done like a week before it releases. So I think it makes a lot of sense that for Daryl Dixon, for, you know, a lot of these shows here, I mean, I'm sure even the premiere of Daryl Dixon, they're probably still polishing some stuff, right, to try and make sure that's actually going to work, which is also something I'm very excited about, by the way, because Daryl Dixon is premiering in a week from now, right? Is that we're going to get a new intro. And so I'm actually really interested in what that's going to look like. A lot of people were saying that it's really cool and they were hyped about it. So I'm interested in seeing how that works, because Dead City's intro was just awesome. And I like the fact that they're actually going out and doing that, because I've always had issues with Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond, Tales from the Walking Dead, or Tales of the Walking Dead, whatever it was called. Like, they just never had like proper intros. It was always just sort of like a sound effect and just like this animated thing. Like, it was just, I don't know, for me personally, it just really felt like it was not the most creative. I wanted something like an actual intro and like a theme song. You know, Dead City has a theme song. Like there's actually a Walking Dead City theme song, right? So I want that for Daryl Dixon. I want that for the Rick and Michonne show. I mean, that show, honestly, I mean, could you use the Walking Dead main theme? Like, could you somehow incorporate it in that? Like, I was thinking about that the other day, actually. Like, I don't know if we're ever really going to hear that theme song again. And it's so iconic, but if you were going to attach the theme song to anything, it probably would be that show. But could you, right? Because you want to give that show its own identity. You couldn't just play that theme song as just that. Like, you couldn't just do that, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I actually think that there probably would be I think there's probably going to be a lot of changes there. I feel like it's probably going to be some stuff there that feels like it, maybe, but I mean, there's also something kind of respectable about just leaving that theme song to the original show And that theme song is just, you know, it's that show's song. Once that show ended, that song also is sort of like that was done. Though I will say, you know, any sort of nod to that at some point in the future, I think would be really amazing. Like, I don't know if you could do it in a way where in the Rick and Michonne show, there's a scene where Rick is doing something super cool and then somehow that theme song is incorporated in there. You know what I mean? Maybe in like future seasons or like whenever they're ending this whole entire thing, right? Like, I think that would be kind of cool, just sort of a nod to The Walking Dead, a nod to the original show kind of thing, right? Like, I think that'd be super cool. But yeah, overall though, this is really incredible news. I'm glad that they actually worked on something here, and this is actually something that is just overall really incredible, and I'm excited. You know, obviously if they came to agreement, both sides are very happy with it, so yeah, definitely really good news. But I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.